All right. Any questions?
All right, if you have a question for Coach or any of the student athletes that are in the back of the room, we have linebacker Jahad Woods and offensive lineman Liam Ryan. Come gather around Coach or student athlete for questions.
Yeah. Well, they end up asking whatever they want anyways. Head out the middleman.
What prep did you do for Media Day, Coach?
I didn't do any. You know, you got to do too much, you're making it up, you know. So, nope, showed up, got to town. And then, of course, the other thing, you know, with regard to, you know, your team and the players and whatnot, you're kind of living it every day. So you pretty well know. That's kind of a moving target right now. I think people are adjusting to it a little more and more. You know, so far it hadn't hurt us. If we're not careful, that portal can become a free-for-all. I mean, if somebody can just transfer for whatever reason anywhere and be eligible, then, you know, then at some point we're going to end up taking scholarships from somebody that doesn't have a good year and giving them to some walk-on that does, I would imagine. I mean, so you want some structure to this thing, and I do think the portal has diminished some of that. It hasn't hurt us. I mean, in our case, guys that we've lost on the portal are either guys far enough down the depth chart that they want to get on the field and play, or else you know, people that we were better off without anyway. And then, but I don't know. I think people are still kind of getting used to it, to be honest with you.
Speaking of transfers, Coach, can you talk about what you've seen from Gage Gruberud since he's arrived in Pullman, and what have you seen from him heading into fall camp?
Dedicated, hardworking player, yeah, smart, you know, a student of the game. He looked good and look good in spring. I mean, we had a lot of guys look good in spring, so it'll be very competitive for that position.
Prior to coming to Washington State, did he kind of catch your eye at Eastern Washington, and had you been kind of paying attention to him at all? I
always thought he was good at Eastern Washington. No, he's a really good player, and you know, has kind of a presence and maturity to him, and has had a lot of success too as a player.
Can you talk about the process of bringing Deion McIntosh in this summer?
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about him or not.
Okay.
I am?
I'm not sure.
Hang on, Bill. Well, anyways, guys that just recently on campus that you know, that we haven't practiced yet. I'm not sure NCAA-wise whether I'm allowed to talk about them.
No worries.
I'd like to.
Larry Scott said that the officiating was fundamentally sound after an independent report. That's a quote from him. However, in the report I noticed it mentioned that they're going to try to avoid incidents like the one in the Washington State-USC game. Do you have any comment on that?
I can't really comment on the officiating unless I want to invest a little more than I plan to, at least at this point. But you know, I think that you know, I think in the end everybody wants the same thing. They want it to be as good as we can possibly get it.
You had a chance to play Laviska Shenault last year. He's on the schedule again this year.
Play who?
Laviska Shenault from Colorado, the receiver.
Yeah.
How would you describe his game?
You know, he's well. First of all, he's really good. Very. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and this really doesn't. It's vague enough. It doesn't mean much. really a smooth player. In other words, just like no wasted steps. He's a guy that has no wasted steps. And he's, he's both quick and fast, and there's a difference. Quick is really the ability to separate or make somebody miss, in my mind, and then fast is just outright outrun somebody. And so he's got both of those things, but he's got a little power to him too. He's kind of got some thickness to, where he's stronger than a lot of the people trying to tackle him. Now, the one I always hope for is just playing together better as a team. We have a lot of guys back, so, but if everybody's committed to improving, to being a better team, and we do improve from last year, we have enough guys back, we could be better than last year, without question, but we need to, everybody's got to be committed to improving, and I realize that everybody thinks we're going to get our head kicked in as usual. I don't expect that to be the case any more than it was last year at this time when speculation was similar. So, that's the great thing about us is every season everybody thinks we're going to get our head kicked in, and then we don't, so everybody gets to be stunned and surprised. So it's fun for everybody. Well, I think everybody has. Their defense, they have quality defense. It goes, a long ways back, clear back to Boise, so, the question, it goes far, at least as far back as Justin Wilcox, and it may go before him, and I suspect it does, and then I'm not sure who his influences were, but, it's a good sound defense, and then the other thing is the Huskies have really good quality players, and so they're a challenge for anybody.
Is it a matchup where it's just not a good fit for the offense?
There's been some. I think a lot of the credit just goes to the Huskies and their ability to, they play well. They got a good unit. They got good players. They're well coached and do a good job. And then there's, the other thing, we just gotta keep improving. You can check it, and if it's, but I think we've won more games than anybody the last 3 years. So, we got to keep doing that.
You had a chance to walk down Hollywood Boulevard at all?
Oh, I have before. It's kind of cool. I'll tell you, if you haven't eaten at Musso and Frank's, go eat there. First of all, they have every menu item that you can ever possibly conceive of. And then the other thing, it has this old school, old Hollywood type of grill atmosphere vibe. And so I like going in there if I have time. And then, but yeah, it's cool. I haven't done it for a while, so, I don't know if everything's all kept up, but it's always been pretty captivating just looking at the buildings, especially the ones are old and that are kind of key landmarks, that type of thing.
When with Graham Harrell, what made him mentally a good fit for the air raid offense?
He's starting out in high school. He threw it a lot in high school. When Graham left high school, he was, I believe, at least for a while, the all-time leading passer in the history of the state of Texas. And his dad is a great student of the game, and threw it while they were at Ennis High School there, and his dad was his coach. So he started out throwing it. And then I also think that is one of those things that as they're sitting at the dinner table passing the potatoes and the vegetables and whatnot, there's probably some football being passed back and forth too. And so I think he came to us as a pretty good student of the game and a sharp guy. And then, and he was a guy that could watch film fairly quickly and pull quite a lot off of it. But he really did a good job. He was a great player for us and a great guy to work with.
When it comes to the quarterback kind of transitioning into running an air raid, is there a mental aspect of the offense that they most commonly
I don't know. You know, really, it's you know, it's one thing to know, you know, what somebody does on every play, but it's another to react to it where it's almost kind of a muscle memory thing where you've done it over and over, and some of it's not just this route or whatever, but it's the, you know, the idiosyncrasies that your receiver or your running back might have, and just the timing of who's where when, and then you know, the biggest thing is just rep it over and over, you know. A what? Okay. You know, the one thing, well, first of all, I think you got to do a good job of selling and illustrating your vision so that they have a sense of it. And it's one thing to describe it, and it's another thing to see it, because there's a point to where, you know, I mean, anybody can tell anybody anything. And, you know, to be perfectly honest, I mean, you tell somebody something, it starts out as a suggestion. And in order to be any good, it better be a heck of a lot more than a suggestion. In other words, this is how we are, and this is how you do it. Okay, so then, and then the other thing, if you haven't had success, you know, sometimes it's pretty tough to trust the process till you do have success. So then you need to build on little increments of success as you go. And once you build on those increments of success as you go, then more confidence and more belief in what's being done, I think, takes place with the team. And then, you know, and after a year or two, then you get guys that have heard the message and done it and believe in it for a period of time. And then some of your efforts are duplicated because the older guys tell the young guys. I mean, you know, because they're around each other more than they are us as coaches. And so, you know, what's being reinforced over everything from video games to the back of the line and drills and that type of thing is critical to, you know, building knowledge and belief in what you're doing. And so, you know, you try to accelerate that process as fast as you can, but I think that's part of why it takes a while. But when the players are really on board and really believe in what you're doing, then then the process, you're able to perpetuate some of your efforts through other people that, you know, have learned the previous years and things.
In your experience, how long does it take a team to transition to the air raid?
I don't know. I've never found it takes very long. You know, do you get better at it? Yeah. Do you get better at it? You get better at it, but I've never felt like it takes a crazy length of time. I mean, you know, a lot of it's commitment, you know. You got to be committed to, you know, to doing it.
Like with the air raiders, is it kind of like the West Coast now where there's between different variations of that offense, or is the air raid still base set without branching off with different coaches and things?
Well, I think there's several branches. It's funny, you get these offenses. It always seemed like the run and shoot was the most aggressive with it, you know, where it's like a religion. You know, some of these people act like these offenses are religions. You know, well, that's not the true run and shoot. You didn't do it like the true run and shoot. Well, did they get a first down? Did they score? You know, I mean, who cares? And then they did the same thing with a West Coast offense. Well, that's not the West Coast offense. Like there's some purist and Cardinal somebody or other said that, no, you have to block this way instead of that, and you have to play fake it first or something. And so obviously that's ridiculous. And then some things called the West Coast offense nowadays has Bill Walsh rolling over in his grave, I promise you. And so, you know, and sometimes people just like to throw out terms to impress their friends, you know. As far as the, you know, the air raid, I've always visualized the air raid, and I guess, and I gave it the name when Bob Lamb came walking through with that siren. But he was a guy at Iowa Wesleyan. And then, but you know, I mean, just spread it out, attack the whole field, and get it in everybody's hands. Okay, there's a lot of ways to do that. And you can even effectively do it on the ground, and Chip Kelly's style is some of that. And then, you need to have some core beliefs on what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. Otherwise, you're just a mishmash of concepts. And then you're not, you don't have an offense, you just have a pile of plays. Offense is something that, you know, one aspect of it complements another. And so you have an arsenal of solutions to a variety of problems that can be caused for you, rather than just guessing and calling plays. And so I do think you need to have a core of beliefs on what you're going to be good at. And then, but you know, I mean, we're constantly searching and discovering things that we think are improving us or experimenting. Sometimes we're wrong and it looked good on the board and it didn't turn out to be as good as you'd hope. But, and it's to the point, and I've been doing it for enough years, that usually they're not wholesale new plays as much as maybe adjust this technique or this route. But I've always thought it evolves and changes, and I think that's an important aspect of any offense. And so I'm not real dogmatic about, you know, this is the air raid and this isn't. It's funny, though, I have overheard people at clinics or something, walk up or just over here, and somebody says, well, that's not the true air raid. I go, well, what are you talking about? You know, there's no true air raids, you know. Or at least not the way I see it, not the way I've been involved with it. Not a true air raid. You're just trying to move the ball and.
We have about 5 minutes remaining with Washington State.
So, I don't think there's a true anything. Max Borghi, what? Well, he's been really good. Max is, came into our place with a lot of confidence, like he belonged there and could play. And then the other thing is, and everybody knew he could rush the football, and he was able to block and protect remarkably well for a true freshman last year, which is critical. And then the other thing, for a guy that only caught about 4 balls his senior year, he's got really good hands. And I thought that'd be a work in progress, and working on his hands. And from day one, we didn't have to work on his. He's already, we're going to run the drills so that he stays sharp, but he could always catch, So.
What's the one thing that you think is missing that's preventing you, or maybe blocking you from taking the next big step to, like, for example, to win the league? Do you think there's
The next big step to what?
to win the league? What's the one thing, if you could put your finger on it?
Well, I think we keep improving, and like I say, I think we've won more games than anybody else the last 3 years. So we just got to keep doing the same things we're doing, just doing better, just keep improving. And then I think also, our talent base has risen some. I mean, it's funny because, on one hand, somebody wants to say, well, clear up there and then anoint all these guys that have natural recruiting advantages, as well. Of course, they get the best recruits, and then all of a sudden somebody wins, and then they're geniuses. Well, which is it? I mean, are they smarter? Or they got more recruiting advantages? And so as we start to mitigate that and get better and better people and develop the ones we have, then I think you just have to keep working to close that gap.
Your insurgency and warfare class in the spring that you taught with Michael Baumgartner, your insurgency and warfare class that you taught at Wazoo. What was the decision to not have the Apple Cup be one of the games that you had your students review? You had the Miami game that you had them review. You had a couple other games, but you didn't have the Apple Cup to have your students review. Was there any thought to have them kind of have one of the assignments be the Apple Cup to watch that?
Well, it just kind of depends the points that we're trying to illustrate. I mean, forget the fact that you can't show. You can't show a whole game. You only have a few minutes, and so certain things are going to illustrate some point of attacking space or, that type of thing. And so, you couldn't even show an entire series. So we had to select plays from, this game, that game, or the other, Well, I've never had any doubt that I could coach in the NFL, and I've thought that, and Cliff, I've always rooted for Cliff, so I hope he does really well, and I think that his offense will do well, and then, of course, some of those NFL teams, things are decided by a committee, and I'm not sure everything that goes into it there at Arizona, but but Cliff will do a really good job running the offense there, and I hope they do well. I'd look at it, but the biggest thing is with any program, whether it's college or, you want a teamwork effort at the top, and as a coach, you always want to, make the decisions that are going to most impact things on the field, and so I bet the biggest thing is you look at stability and leadership, I think.
Do you believe if a kid decides to declare early for the draft and forego his senior year or extra year of eligibility, and he goes undrafted, should he have the option to come back to school? Do you think that should be something that should be? Do you think that a kid that declares early for the draft and forgoes his senior year and junior year, should he be able to come back if he goes undrafted? Should he have the option to come back to school if he were to go undrafted?
No, because I don't think that. We don't just sit around here and try to build NFL teams. I think the important thing is to build your college team. I mean, either a guy's playing college or he's playing in the NFL. Make up your mind. That's what I think.
Has Graham Harrell reached out to you for any advice? Have you reached out to him?
We talk off and on. I guess from time to time. I mean, we end up talking about a bunch of other things, so I don't always remember why he called, to be perfectly honest, but we'll call and text, and yeah.
How's Gunner Cruz acclimating to having never been in snow before, to coming up early and trying to get with the program early?
When he came up there in the winter, and it was the dead of winter, and we have our kind of grass drill stuff outside and that type of thing, and I tell you what, he bounced around, rolled around in the snow right there with everybody else. He didn't have any problem. The other thing that was really, really remarkable for a guy that's about 17 years old and as big as him, you're thinking, well, there's going to be some adjustment or something like that in the course of your.
All right, that concludes Washington State. We are now finished with Washington State.
Because some of these guys have been in off season for 4 or 5 years. And, he just comes straight out of high school. But he distinguished himself every single day out there. It was really impressive to see a kid that big, that young, do that well. All right. Well, I appreciate it.